Okay. So what we've got for today is multiplication of fractions. Okay? And the system to do this is basically very simple. It's top to top and bottom to bottom. So top number multiplied by top number, bottom number multiplied by bottom number. Okay? Cool. So I'm going to show this with letters, and then we'll go into some examples straight away. So, if I have a fraction, say a over b times c over d, multiplying fractions simply dictates that's a times c over b times d, whatever those numbers are. Okay, now let's proceed to see how that works for proper and improper fractions first, or should I say top light and top heavy fractions. Okay, so for example, if I was to do 1 over 2 times 3 over 4, okay, so if I wanted to complete the example 1 over 2 times 3 over 4, what I would carry out is basically follow the rule above. Top number times top number, that's 1 times 3, over bottom number times bottom number, 2 times 4. Okay? Now, one thing to note before you complete the multiplication is you want to make sure fractions are reduced. Okay? This is what I mean. So, for 1, there's no breakdown. For 3, there is no breakdown. For 2, there is no breakdown. Those are prime numbers. But for 4, I can break it down into a product of prime factors of 2 times 2. Okay? Now, if I compare what's above to what's below, there are no common factors, so there's nothing to cancel out. So, I can just complete this multiplication here. 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, or you can go with this, 2 times 2, 4, 4 times 2, 8. Okay, another example is 2 over 3 times 4 over 5. So, what we have, top times top, 2 times 4, over bottom number times bottom number, 3 times 5. Now at the top, 2 times 4 is a product of prime factors. Broken down, that's 2 times 2. And for the bottom, 3 times 5, they're both prime numbers. So there's no further breakdown for 3 and 5. So if you look at the top and the bottom, no common factors to cancel out. So we just have 2 times 4, 8, 3 times 5, 15. So, answer for that is 8 over 15. Okay? Now, you can try 7 over 4, which is an improper fraction, times 2 over 11, which is a proper fraction. Okay? So, that's equal to 7 times 2 over 4 times 11. Okay? If I break that down into a product of prime factors, 7 is a prime factor on its own, so we leave that. 2 is a prime factor on its own. 4, not a prime factor. So if it's broken down, that's 2 times 2. And for 11, 11 is another prime factor, so we leave it. Well, if we look at this, there's a common factor at the top and the bottom with 2. So we cancel that out for 1 and 1. So 7 times 1 is 7. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 11, that's 22. So we have the answer for that fraction multiplication is 7 over 22. Okay? Because we've not just multiplied the fractions, we've also made sure to reduce it as well. Or should I say, simplify it. Okay? Cool. Another example where we have to simplify the fraction after multiplying it or during the multiplying process. Now, that's 8 times 10 divided by 5 times 7. So, 8 is not a prime number, but if we break it down, it's 2 times 2 times 2, and 10 is 2 times 5. 5 is a prime number, so we leave it as that. 7 is a prime number, so we leave it as that. Now if we notice, there's a common factor between the top and the bottom of 5, so we cancel the 5 at the top out for 1, cancel the 5 at the bottom out for 1. At the top, now we have 2 times 2, which is 4. 4 times 2, 8. 8 times 2, that's 16 at the top. And at the bottom, we just have 1 times 7, which just gives us 7. So, the answer for 8 over 5 times 10 over 7 is 16 over 7. And we made sure to also reduce or simplify the fraction in the process of multiplying. Okay? Now, what happens when you have to multiply a whole number by a fraction? Now, remember, it's important to note that a whole number is also a fraction, because 7 can be written as 7 over 1. Okay? Times 3 over 2. Okay? Now, we can just carry on. Top number times top number. Bottom number times bottom number. 7 times 3, 21. 1 times 2 is just 2. Okay? Once again, if we have 5 over 17 times 3, that's a whole number 3, so we can write it as a fraction, so 5 over 17 times 3 over 1. Okay, that's equal to 5 times 3 over 17 times 1, which is equal to 5 times 3, 15. And why didn't I break down 17? Because 17 is a prime number. So 17 times 1 is just 17. Okay? So our final answer for that is 15 over 17. Okay? Now, what happens when we have to multiply fractions like this? First things first, these are both mixed fractions. So the first thing to do is to convert each one to an improper fraction. So 1, 2 over 3 would be the same as whole number 1 times 3, the bottom number, and then we add the top number of the proper fraction 2, and then the bottom number never changes, remains the same. Okay, so 1, 2 over 3 was an improper fraction, is 1 times 3, that's 3, and then plus 2 over 3, that's equal to 5 over 3. Okay, 1, 2 over 3 is the same as 5 over 3 as an improper fraction. Now, I have to do the same thing for 2 4 over 5. Okay, that's the same as whole number, which is 2, times the bottom number, which is 5. Put it in a bracket, so we know to do that first. And we add the top number of the proper fraction, 4. And finally, the bottom number doesn't change, 5 here, so 5 here. Now, 2 times 5 in this bracket, that makes 10, plus 4 over bottom number 5, and that results in 14 over 5. So, 2 4 over 5 as an improper fraction is 14 over 5. So now, we carry out a multiplication. So, instead of 1 2 over 3, I use 5 over 3, times, instead of 2 4 over 5, I use 14 over 5. So, top number times top number, bottom number times bottom number. Okay, so if we break that down, that's 5 is a prime number, 14 is not. We break that down into 2 times 7 as a product of prime numbers. 3 is a prime number, 5 is a prime number. And so we check if there are common factors at the top and the bottom. There is one, which is 5. We strike that out for 1. And at the bottom, we strike that out for 1. So, we multiply all of that together. So that's 1 times 2, that's 2. 2 times 7, that's 14. And at the bottom, 3 times 1, which is just 3. So, 1 2 over 3 times 2 4 over 5, which is the same as 5 over 3 times 14 over 5, gives us this answer after it's simplified and multiplied. So, 14 over 3. Okay? Make sure to slow it down. Go back through it again to understand it perfectly. Okay? Now, another example. 3 over 3 times 1 5 over 6. Okay? Remember, first thing we do, we don't solve them as mixed fractions. We convert them to improper fractions. So 3 2 over 3, that's basically in a bracket, whole number 3 times bottom number 3, and then we add the top number of the proper fraction, which is 2, over the bottom number that never changes, still 3. So 3 times 3 in the bracket, that's 9, so we can drop the bracket, plus 2 over 3. So now, that's 9 plus 2, 11 over 3. So 3 2 over 3 as an improper fraction is 11 over 3. Now, 1 5 over 6, the same thing. Whole number times bottom number. That's 1 times 6 plus top number of the proper fraction, which is 5, divided by the bottom number, which remains the same. Okay, bracket first, 1 times 6, that's 6, plus 5 over 6. So that results in 6 plus 5, 11 over 6. So 1 5 over 6 as an improper fraction is 11 over 6. Now, to complete the multiplication, 3 2 over 3 we replace with 11 over 3 times 1 5 over 6 we replace with 11 over 6. So, top number times top number over bottom number times bottom number. Now, why am I not breaking this down? Because 11 is a prime number, so that means it has no factors at the bottom. Okay, even if I can break down the bottom, there's nothing to break down at the top. So, 11 times 11, go through your times table for that, or long multiplication, that's 121. and 3 times 6, that's 18. So you end up with 121 over 18. Okay? Now, for division of fractions, it's very much like multiplication of fractions, but it needs a little change in the process. Okay? So I will use letters to represent, and we'll get into some examples straight away. So, if I have the same a over b divided by c over d, the first course of action is to change the sign to a multiplication sign, but then I flip the second fraction. Okay? So instead of c over d, I now have d over c. So, let's go into examples straight away. 1 over 2 divided by 3 over 4. First things first, 1 over 2, change the sign to a multiplication, flip the second fraction, and I'm on my way. So, at the top, that's 1 times 4. At the bottom, that's 2 times 3. Now, 1 can't be broken down. 4 is not a prime number. As a product of prime factors, it's 2 times 2. At the bottom, 2 and 3 are prime numbers. So, common factors at the top and bottom. There's a 2 at the top, there's a 2 at the bottom. So we cancel both out for 1 and 1. So, that's 1 times 1, that's 1. Times 2, that's 2. And at the bottom, that's 1 times 3, so that's 3. So, 1 over 2 divided by 3 over 4, after being divided and simplified, that results in 2 over 3. Okay, next example, 2 over 3 divided by 4 over 5. Okay, once again, that's 2 over 3, change to a multiplication sign, flip the second fraction. Now, top number times top number, 2 times 5, bottom number times bottom number, 3 times 4. 2 is a prime number, times 5 another prime number, and 3 is a prime number, but 4 is not. We break that down into 2 times 2 as a product of prime factors. Now 2 is a factor at the top and there's a 2 at the bottom. So we strike that out for 1 and 1. So 1 times 5 at the top is 5. 3 times 2 at the bottom is 6. 6 times 1 is 6. So we end up with 5 over 6. So 2 over 3 divided by 4 over 5, after dividing and reducing, gives us 5 over 6. Okay? Now, if we're dealing with a fraction, okay, and a whole number, say 1 over 3 divided by 8, remember, a whole number can also be written as a fraction. So 1 over 3 is divided by not just 8, but as a fraction, 8 over 1. Now we can start. 1 over 3, change the sign, flip the second fraction. Instead of 8 over 1, we now have 1 over 8. Okay, so 1 times 1, and at the bottom, 3 times 8. This is straightforward enough. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 8, 24. Okay? Now, if this was the other way around, if I had 8 divided by 1 over 3, okay? First things first, the whole number has to be written as a fraction, so that's 8 over 1 divided by 1 over 3. Now, 8 over 1, change the sign to a multiplication sign, flip the second fraction, that's 3 over 1. As a result, that's 8 times 3 over 1 times 1. 8 times 3, 24, 1 times 1, 1. So 24 over 1, which you can also write as just 24 as a whole number. Okay, notice the process doesn't change. Change the sign, flip the second fraction, and continue with multiplication as usual. That's how you divide proper and improper fractions. Now, what about mixed fractions? So, 2 1 over 3 divided by 4 1 over 2. Okay? Once again, you never solve fractions as mixed. You convert them to improper fractions first. So, 2 1 over 3 as an improper fraction, our process starts. So the whole number 2 times the bottom number of the proper fraction, 3, plus the top number of the proper fraction, 1, over the bottom number, 3. And that's equal to 2 times 3, 6, plus 1 over 3. Which makes that equal to 7 over 3. So 2 1 over 3 as an improper fraction is 7 over 3. Now, 4 1 over 2, carry out the same process again. Whole number times the bottom number of the proper fraction, 4 times 2, and then you add on the top number of the proper fraction, 1, over the bottom number, 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 over 2, and that's equal to 9 over 2. Okay, so 4 1 over 2 as an improper fraction is 9 over 2. Now that's what we use for our solution. 7 over 3 divided by 9 over 2. Once we have that, we go through the process of division of fractions. So 7 over 3, change the sign to a multiplication, flip the second fraction. Now, top number times top number, 7 times 2. Bottom number times bottom number, 3 times 9. Now there's no breakdown necessary because the top numbers, both prime numbers, and there's no common factor with the bottom number, so 7 times 2 is 14, 3 times 9, 27. So 2 1 over 3 divided by 4 1 over 2 is simply 14 over 27. Okay, now one more, 3 2 over 3 divided by 1 5 over 6. Okay, once again, don't solve as a mixed fraction, solve it as an improper fraction. So convert to improper fractions, 3 2 over 3, whole number times the bottom number of the proper fraction, 3 times 3, plus the top number, 2, all over the bottom number, 3. That results in 3 times 3, 9 plus 2, over 3, that's just 11 over 3. Okay, 1 5 over 6, once again, whole number times bottom number, 1 times 6, plus the top number, 5, all over the bottom number, 6. That's equal to 6 plus 5, all over 6. That's basically 11 over 6. Okay, so if we carry that out with the improper fractions, that's 11 over 3 divided by 11 over 6. And that's equal to 11 over 3. Change the sign to a multiplication sign. Flip the second fraction. And we're on our way. Top number times top number, 11 times 6. Bottom number times bottom number, 3 times 11. Now at the top, there's only one number that's not prime, and that's 6. So we break that down as 2 times 3 as a product of prime factors. At the bottom, 3 and 11 are both prime numbers. There's no breakdown there. At the top, there are 2 factors. Let's start with 11. So there's an 11 at the top and the bottom. Cancel both out for 1 and 1. We have a 3 at the top and at the bottom. We cancel that out for 1 and 1. So at the top we have 1 times 2, which is 2, times 1, which is 2. At the bottom we just have 1 times 1, which is 1. So our answer is 2 over 1, which we can just write as simply 2 as a whole number. Okay? That's about it. Okay? Replay it, slow it down, make sure it makes sense. Okay? Thank you very much. You've been listening to The Math Done, and until next time.